Here, if you are just tuning in, 8 dead in this shooting situation at Santa Fe High School. It's hard to even speak the words. This has now happened, unfortunately, in our area, and we are hearing the extent of it. We don't know at this point how many are students, how many perhaps are teachers. We have seen there is lifeline on the ground, but we have certainly seen ambulances leaving the scene as well, lots of emergency vehicles. As we heard from one of the doctors, and it probably speaks for everyone, you think it is never going to happen at your place, but you prepare for it. And clearly, Santa Fe High School had prepared these young people so they knew what to do. But it's the worst kind of situation, you think, to ever have happen. And again, 8 dead that we know of at this point.
All morning long we have been reporting, injuries, and we didn't know the extent of those injuries. And we started reporting casualties, but we didn't know whether any of those were fatalities. And then the official word came that 8 were dead, and our mouths just dropped. Our hearts are sunk, and our hearts are going out to those family members who have lost their loved ones. We do not know, again, whether those individuals are students and or adults, but we do know that the injured, and there are several individuals whom have been injured, but we know at least a couple of those at UTMB are adults. Another is a student, other individuals taken to other hospitals as well, I believe, as we continue to look at Sky Eye pictures of Santa Fe High School. This was a school that had an incident, of course, in February, but it didn't pan out to be anything. But certainly it put that school under a lockdown and sort of a practice mode for all of this, which took place today.
Yeah, all of us grew up going through fire drills and the like, but now, unfortunately, the reality in 2018 is so many schools have to go through drills. What happens if there was an active shooter in the building? Here they were prepared. The students were certainly prepared. They knew to stack up things against the door and the windows to keep themselves safe. Yeah. They knew to get to the safest place, but the horror is that they have to prepare for situations like this. And we want to bring in someone right now. Tim Bollett is on the telephone. He is a security expert as we continue to look at some of these pictures from Sky. Mr. Bollett, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and the worst kind of situation to have to get to know each other. But we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what schools are having to do now. Schools and area hospitals, police departments. This is a reality in our lives, is it not?
Well, it's definitely happening more and more. We actually had one here in our county I'm a sergeant with the sheriff's office here that we responded to, and my team cleared that school and so forth. And it's something that has to be prepared for, and we have to train in conjunction with these schools on a regular basis to have a plan in place, because it is arising more and more, and it doesn't appear that it's going to be going away anytime soon.
No, and that's the sad part about it as well. And Mr. Bollett, clearly the schools, the mentality of students, their mindset as well is that they see it happening in other places, and mentally they're somewhat more prepared, but they never believe it's going to happen in their own backyard.
No, you don't, but you almost have to now. It's almost everywhere there's somebody that's been affected by one of these shootings, because they've been so commonplace, not only in schools, but workplaces and churches, all the same.
What do you advise many of your clients? I know you're talking to schools, you're talking to churches, office buildings. What are you telling people to do?
Well, right now, the big push here in Texas is the 2 school programs, the Guardian program and the Marshall program, and that's kind of what we've been focused on. And then the active shooter protocol, we're doing a lot of joint training with the schools through law enforcement, where we're practicing with these rescue teams, going in with police, fire, and first responders. And then the reactions of the teachers and faculty on the inside, whether they should barricade, lock down, or if they're in a position where they can evacuate or leave. So it's getting that education out there to them and knowing what to do. And then, measures to stop these kids from getting these guns in the schools in the first place. I mean, we don't know in this case what was used, but if it was a rifle or a shotgun like it's being speculated, I mean, there's things that can be done to where that never makes it into the school. I mean, it's not easy to conceal one of those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, especially if you're walking around with a shotgun, which is what apparently other students are saying that they saw and what they heard as well. But when you're talking about 8 individuals dead, I mean, one of the measures here that students are asked to take is either take flight immediately, get away from it, or fight back. Now, that's the last option, but it has to be one of those options.
Well, either, depending on where you are in relation to it, fighting back is, that's the ultimate option, like you said before getting shot. If you have an escape route, you have an escape route, and then if you're perhaps further away, locking down, and the teachers are having to actually apply a little bit of strategy in their classrooms to know where they can hide their students, so to speak, to where